What's up, everybody? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just wanted to quickly give you guys a huge apology for any of my previous videos where I had any audio issues on there. I sincerely apologize for you guys having to endure trying to listen to that and it not be 100% professional. That's one of the things that I strive for with these videos here, and that's why I put the content together the way I do, is because I want it to come across as professional as I possibly can. And when I hear that you guys are having issues hearing me, that really just makes me feel very upset about what I did. And I apologize for that. Unfortunately, I'm not somebody who has a lot of money. I'm a single father here trying to take care of a child. And so all the money I do have goes to supporting me and my child so that we can survive. And it's really difficult to put money into anything brand new as far as equipment is concerned. But hopefully, while this channel is growing, if I can get anything from this, guys, and even with my Patreon page that I just set up, I am absolutely going to put it all into equipment to make this 100% more professional for you guys. And I could not thank you guys enough for being a part of this channel. Without you guys, I really wouldn't be anything at all. I would just be a talking head throwing out videos. So thank you so much for at least paying attention to my videos, even while having to deal with those audio issues there. Jumping right into this particular video, guys, I know that some of you guys might be questioning the particular thumbnail imagery that you actually had to click on to get into this video. I'm going to save it for the end of the video because it's kind of a special treat, more based off of speculation, and of course it's kind of older news. We'll get to that again at the very end of this video here. I don't want to ruin it for you guys because all the stuff that I've compiled together here kind of alludes to what we're going to talk about with that thumbnail imagery there. Now, jumping right into it, guys. This article here talks about the New World Trade Organization and a report that they just recently did talking about their enthusiasm about the blockchain technology. And of course, they give a huge shout out to Ripple and IOTA. But what I've gathered from this article is that they have a pretty strong, sentiment towards Ripple, the company here, and we're going to explain that right now. It says, a new report released by the World Trade Organization reveals that the international trade regulating body sees strong potential in blockchain technology and specifically highlights Ripple as a disruptor of existing systems. Now, remember what I told you when we get to the end of the video, this video here, we're going to talk about that thumbnails. Keep this little sentence in mind again. They specifically highlight Ripple as a disruptor of existing systems. That's kind of important. Again, I'm trying to tie everything together to give you my feelings about, again, that picture the very end of this video. So let's talk a little bit further about this article here. It says the report also covers the scalability issue of blockchain, contrasting Bitcoin and Ethereum, and specific applications of the technology such as in supply chain networks. This actually goes a little bit further than the state, and this is actually the people of the actual World Trade Organization stating, Ripple has ambitions to circumvent the correspondent bank model through its distributed ledger platform. It gives banks the ability to convert funds directly into different currencies in a matter of seconds and at little to no cost without relying on correspondent banks. The company has licenses with more than 100 banks and financial institutions, but it seems that only a limited number of large operations have taken place to date. Banks are still testing the system. Well, this is not brand news. We actually heard about this. I've mentioned this in previous videos. We've known that there have been many banks that were testing the Xrp platform to make sure that it's something that would work within their system with what they're trying to accomplish with cross-border payments. We also know that there are going to be 3 companies right now, one of them being a credit union, that will go live with Xrp hopefully soon. We'll get more announcements on that, I'm pretty sure, in the upcoming months, maybe weeks, just simply depending on when they're ready to release that information there. But again, the World Trade Organization is now seeing what we all have known about what Ripple's doing in the XRP coin, and of course Xrp, and making a use case out of the XRP coin. So it is very important that we see things like this right here with huge entities such as the World Trade Organization giving a huge spotlight to Ripple and what they're doing. And of course, again, let's go back to this one sentence here. I just can't get over it. It says they specifically highlight Ripple as a disruptor of existing systems. So when we think about that, we can use that information and put that into what we're currently hearing, which is part of the circulating news today, about Ripple to be exhibited at Swift's Sibos conference. Now, this is a conference that will be taking place in Sydney around the 22nd and through the 25th of this month of October 2018. Now, why this is important, this is because Swift is going to be talking about, hopefully, what they're planning on doing to stay current with all this blockchain technology that's happening before their eyes. Swift is one of the oldest payment systems right now as far as cross-border payments. I mean, so old-fashioned that, you know, their processing speed is actually very slow by comparison to any of the cryptocurrencies we're dealing with right now. Of course, what is interesting here are some of the announcements. Now, this is Daisy Edwards from Twitter. She states, I don't believe Ripple's biggest announcement of the year was ever coming from Swell. The biggest announcement will come at Sibos later this month. If there was ever going to be a way for Swift to save its skin, it would be plugging Xrp in for its settlements. Now, think about it this way. Brad Garlinghouse, even at the Swell event, mentioned that they're not looking to disrupt other companies. They're looking to more or less, you know, quote unquote, partner with them. And by partner with them, I would imagine that what they're trying to do is just simply say, hey, we're Ripple, we own Xrp. Would you like to have one of the fastest processing transaction speeds for your cross-border payments? And would you also like to have it at little to no cost to do so? Well, then let's implement Xrp into your system. And that's what I'm guessing is going to be talked about at this Sibos event for Swift. It would absolutely make sense that they partner with Ripple and what Ripple's doing here. Instead of completely disrupting the entire Swift ecosystem, just leave it as it is and just implement the Xrp protocol, and there you go. You have Ripple partnered now with Swift. So it makes sense that that would be the case. And again, if that happens, going right back to this article here, that is another sign that they're just disrupting the entire existing system as we know it. It's going from the old system to a new system by the bridge of Ripple, more or less. So with that being said, guys, this could actually change the entire price point for XRP. This article kind of emphasizes that a little bit more. It says XRP could skyrocket above $50 if Ripple gets 10% of Swift's business. Wow, just 10% of Swift's business will actually turn an XRP coin to $50. Imagine that, guys. If you are an XRP holder right now, multiply how many coins you have by $50. Now, I'm not sure the particular time frame when we'd see something like this, but I would imagine that just like everything when it comes to these kind of new technologies, it will take time. Not to mention, Brad Garlinghouse has already talked about several times that they're looking to have dozens of banks partnered with Ripple by the end of 2019. So in an entire year from now, we're looking to have the possibility of dozens of banks, not just a dozen, but dozens, plural. So that's going to be relatively one of the biggest things that we could see in the entire blockchain ecosystem and the cryptocurrency ecosystem for, you know, Ripple, and of course not just XRP, but having implemented Xrp into all these particular facilities to help facilitate all their cross-border payments. So again, keep all this in mind, guys. This is extremely important because if we start seeing the talks of Swift incorporating a partnership with Ripple to use Xrp, that's going to put Ripple on the face of the map forever. And of course, again, it's going to change the entire price point of your XRP coin. This leads me into what I wanted to talk about again, that little thumbnail imagery here. Because all of this disruption, all of this information that we're finding out about Ripple and the XRP coin possibly being the most dominating coin, it lends itself very nicely to this article right here. This actually came out at the beginning of this year, but it's talking about a magazine from The Economist written in 1988. And this title says here, did a 1988 Economist magazine predict a Bitcoin explosion in 2018? Well, of course, what I did here, if you didn't already notice, guys, I took the coin, I just simply took off that little picture icon underneath the number 10 and swapped it out with XRP. And the reason why I say that is because this article is at, more or less saying, hey, is Bitcoin this new coin of 2018 that's going to be the world currency as what's heading here on the front page of The Economist? My thinking is that it's not going to be Bitcoin because we've already more or less found and established that Bitcoin is like the primary base of value for cryptocurrencies, not necessarily the primary currency or the world currency. My guessing is that we would see something like XRP be the world currency, be something that's going to be implemented, because there's not only is there more XRP coins in existence than Bitcoin, but we definitely know that there is an absolute use case for that coin on top of it having value as it is. So we can not only have it, hold it as value, it has a use case for companies that would like to transfer value. And of course, we can actually eventually start seeing something like this being used for buying things. Keep in mind, my last video when I talked about Crypto.com, that company, they're actually going to be sending out Visa debit cards dealing with the cryptos from their exchange to it's like 100,000 of these cards being dispersed out in Asia. They're going to be more or less the guinea pig stage of what we can see happening with, what their particular app. And again, they're using XRP on their app as well. So if that is the case, guys, we can start seeing the fundamentals break down for XRP being a world currency. And again, interesting enough, this was written in 1988. This is written by people who are already thinking about a paper system, a paper fiat system, going and transitioning itself into some sort of digital system. And of course, again, it does talk and compare it to Bitcoin, but I just explained, I don't think it's Bitcoin. I really, truly do not think it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin might explode in price, but I think once Bitcoin explodes in price, all of your other altcoins are going to follow in suit. But just as well, it's still absolutely slow. And even if they wanted to implement the Lightning Network into Bitcoin and Litecoin, they still have to go through the process of being faster than XRP. And right now, XRP is by far the fastest coin out of the top performing coins out there. So keep all that in mind, guys, when I'm talking about this kind of stuff, because I think that there's some correlation between what we've seen from the past, what we're seeing currently, and what we'll see in the future here. Now, I want to end on a couple things here, because this actually talks about some very interesting things here. So it says right here, this is a fantastic fundamental hedge and store of value against autocratic regimes and banking infrastructures that we know is corrosive to how the world needs to work properly. You cannot have central banks infinitely printing currencies. You cannot have folks with misguided and misdirected monetary and fiscal policies. It's a con game. Guess what happens when you infinitely are able to print out a particular currency? It can become inflated to the point that it becomes hyperinflated. Let's use Venezuela as an example here. We've already talked about this in previous videos, where Venezuela's particular fiat currency has been so hyperinflated that now they're trying to mandate and demand that people use the Petro coin, which is a new cryptocurrency there. And I mean, it's already got a huge amount of backlash because of that transition there. So it has been more or less a negative impact on Venezuela. The people there have been taking, hundreds of thousands of their fiat currency just to simply go to a grocery store and buy groceries with it. So knowing that you have the ability of hyperinflation because you can actually keep printing out money is what makes cryptocurrencies, but more specifically XRP, a primary safe haven for those who want to keep their investments going and not lose any of their value. So keep all that in mind, guys. One last quote here I wanted to tell you. I thought it was extremely interesting and important here. Where is it at? Let me see. I apologize for this, guys, but here it is. So this is a quote by Henry Ford, and I believe this is also in that particular magazine, The Economist here, but he states, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. Before, if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." So keep all that in mind, guys. This is something that Henry Ford was talking about when he was in existence, and seeing how the monetary system is and how messed up that entire system is, knowing that it can be infinitely printed as far as your monetary money, your fiat currency of whatever country you're in. More importantly, this has been talked about as far as the United States, because we have a huge problem of creating more money whenever we need it, or we need some sort of bailout. And I've talked about this in other videos, where Bitcoin was designed to be the second bailout for any type of crash that could potentially happen. Well, guess what? We're hearing a lot of experts out there talking about potential crashes coming up in the next year to 2 years. 2020 seems to be this marking date as to when we start seeing the negative impact, maybe a bubble bursting in the housing markets and in the stock markets and things of that nature. So again, we got to keep all that in mind, guys. And if we have those issues where something crashes and they need a bailout, well, just like they did last 2008, the last time that happened, huge amount of money was printed out to help the bailout, and now we have an even more inflated dollar bill. And if you go to usdebtclock.org, you can actually see where we're sitting right now with the entire United States debt. You can also then calculate all of the world debt together there, and it's so impactful just to see those numbers, guys. It's insane. But again, knowing that people like Henry Ford had already seen this, they have forethought about what could potentially happen with the monetary system. I mean, it's just strikingly odd. And the fact that, again, this Economist magazine was created in 1988, and they're already kind of talking about some sort of digital currency being a world currency. So let me know what you guys think. I thought this was very interesting. I thought that it more or less had some ties together in regards to what we're seeing, the wordings, the verbiage being used for Ripple, the company, and of course the Xrp protocol, and of course the verbiage used for the XRP coin. So I hope you like what you saw, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I look forward to having dialogue with you guys. Have a good night.
And hey, if you enjoyed what you saw, please hit that like button. And also, if you want to get it spread out to as many people as we possibly can, share this out with everybody. Also, guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. This channel has been growing so fast and I couldn't have done it without you guys. One last thing, if you want real, up-to-date news on any of your favorite cryptocurrencies, please download that free Berm app in the description below for either Android or iPhone. Once you're here, you can check out any article that is listed for any type of cryptocurrency, and Berm will also reward you for liking or disliking any of the articles there with what they call Berm coins. They will eventually add up and will be allowed to be traded against other cryptocurrencies once their ICO is over. If you would like to have an additional 150 free Berm coins, simply click on the little me icon at the bottom, click on invite friends, and where it says redeem tokens, type in this code, hit redeem tokens, and you are rewarded with 150 Berm coin. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one.